Good morning, New York.
Morning.
Last night, we made history. I'm so proud to be standing here today as the mayor-elect of the greatest city in the world. Over 2 million New Yorkers cast their ballots. Whether they were the more than million who supported this campaign or the others who supported someone else, or whether they felt too disappointed by the political process to participate at all, I will work every day to honor the trust that I now hold. The poetry of campaigning may have come to a close last night at 9, but the beautiful prose of governing has only just begun. The hard work of improving New Yorkers' lives starts now. That process begins with transition. In the coming months, I and my team will build a city hall capable of delivering on the promises of this campaign. We will form an administration that is in equal parts capable and compassionate, driven by integrity, and willing to work just as hard as the millions of New Yorkers who call this city home. And central to that effort is a transition team that is defined by the excellence New Yorkers will soon come to expect from government. Our team will be directed by Ilana Leopold, whose roots in this city extend back to her grandmother running the trams on Roosevelt Island. She has extensive experience in city government and has been a key part of our campaign to become the next mayor of this city. And it will be led by our formidable co-chairs, former Federal Trade Commissioner Chair Lena Khan, former First Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, United Way President and CEO Grace Bonia, and former Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services Melanie Hartzog. Over the coming days, we'll start announcing the leaders who will implement our agenda. People like deputy mayors, who oversee entire areas of government, and the commissioners, who carry out the critical work of city agencies. Some of these people will have familiar names. Others will not. What will unite them will be a commitment to solving old problems with new solutions. We will cast a wide net. We will speak to the organizers on the front lines of the fight to improve our city, government veterans with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world, and working people who know better than anyone what their neighborhoods need. Throughout this campaign, I have worked hard to be accessible and transparent with New Yorkers. That same spirit will animate this transition and the city hall we build, because New Yorkers deserve a government that they can trust. And on January 1st, when our city celebrates the inauguration of a new administration, let us also celebrate a new era for our city, one that we all feel invested in and whose success we all work to achieve. Now, it is my pleasure to invite Ilana Leopold to deliver a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Ilana Leopold, and I'm very honored to serve as the Executive Director of Mayor-elect Mamdani's leadership team. I want to thank Zohran for his faith in me, both on the campaign trail and in this next exciting chapter of this movement. As a third-generation New Yorker raised in Mitchell-Lama housing and educated at CUNY, I bring to this work a deep appreciation for the city's promise and a commitment to expanding it for others. I love this city deeply, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to help shape its future. I'm also expecting a child soon, and so I want the future that she inherits to be one of possibility and opportunity, and I want my new family, like so many others, to be able to rely on the universal child care that Zohran campaigned on. I know from firsthand experience that no one will fight harder for New Yorkers than Zohran. He has the vision and ambition necessary to drive down the cost of living so that families like mine can afford to live in the city we've built. I cannot wait to help our next mayor build a government for and by all New Yorkers. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Grace Bonia, and I am excited to be with all of you today. I want to congratulate Mayor-elect Mamdani on his historic victory in a campaign that captured the imagination of so many and centered the needs of working New Yorkers as a North Star. I'm honored to be part of a transition team and eager to work with you to build an administration that will work tirelessly to ensure working New Yorkers can finally afford to live and raise their families in the city that they love. As a native of Queens and a daughter of Ecuadorian immigrants who has dedicated my career to fighting for vulnerable New Yorkers, this appointment means a lot to me, particularly at a time when our immigrant communities and the people I serve are under attack. As we stand here today, 1.8 million New York City residents are without benefits to feed themselves and their families because of the inactions from the federal government. I am confident that Mayor-elect will always stand by New Yorkers and fight against any federal encroachment and that target the programs our neighbors need to survive. I look forward to helping him to build working to build an effective government that keeps every New Yorker safe, healthy, housed, and built on the promise of our city and the brilliance of our people. Ahora en español. Ante todo, quiero felicitar al alcalde electo Mamdani por su victoria histórica y por una campaña que cautivó a tantos y que le dio prioridad a las necesidades de los neoyorquinos luchando por sobrevivir en esta ciudad. Estoy muy orgullosa de formar parte de su equipo de transición y estoy lista para trabajar con usted para construir una administración que se esfuerza incansablemente para garantizar que todos los neoyorquinos puedan finalmente vivir y criar a sus familias en esta ciudad que tanto amamos. En este preciso momento, 1.8 millones de residentes de la ciudad de Nueva York carecen de beneficios para alimentar a sus familias y a sí mismos, debido a la inacción del gobierno federal. Confío que en el alcalde electo siempre defenderá a los neoyorquinos y luchará contra cualquier acción federal que afecte negativamente a los programas que nuestros vecinos necesitan para sobrevivir. Espero poder ayudar a construir un gobierno eficaz que garantice la seguridad, la salud y la vivienda de todos los neoyorquinos y que aproveche el potencial de nuestra ciudad y el talento de nuestra gente. Muchas gracias.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mel Hartzog. No one calls me Melanie except my mother when I'm in trouble. And I'm so excited to be with you all today. I first want to start off by congratulating our Mayor-elect Mamdani on an impressive and amazing campaign and victory last night. In my day job, I lead the New York Foundling, one of the city's largest and oldest social service organizations. I previously served across 2 administrations as the Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, Deputy Commissioner for the Administration for Children's Services, among other roles. There's one thing I've been reminded of in this work, time and time again. It all comes down to economics. Paying your rent, putting food on the table, taking care of your kids. That's what New Yorkers care deep down about, and that's what the Mayor-elect has so successfully tapped into. It's my honor to join the Mayor-elect and this incredible group of women who epitomize public service to make sure that we bring the very best, brightest, and most principled people to deliver for our fellow New Yorkers on this moment of promise. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to see you all. I want to start off by just congratulating our Mayor-elect Mamdani on an incredible victory and a just remarkable campaign this last year. I think what we saw last night was New Yorkers not just electing a new mayor, but clearly rejecting a politics where outsized corporate power and money too often end up dictating our politics, and a clear mandate for change where New Yorkers can get ahead and where all workers and small businesses can thrive, not just get by. I think what we saw through the campaign was an operation that showed extraordinary discipline, rigor, talent, and I know that Zohran has the vision and courage to make sure that we can actually deliver. It's such an honor to get to be part of his transition team, and I'm so excited to work with the co-chairs to make sure that we are building an administration that can hit the ground running on day one and deliver for all New Yorkers. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Torres Springer, and first and foremost, I want to congratulate the Mayor-elect on his extraordinary victory last night and on building a campaign for and by the people. I'm so thrilled to join his transition team of extraordinary women, by the way, and help ensure that his administration is ready to govern boldly and effectively on day one. As the daughter of immigrants who believed in the promise of this country, and as a proud New Yorker who loves and believes deeply in this city, I have so admired the way the mayor-elect ran a campaign that reminded us that home is both our greatest challenge and the greatest hope for our future. I remain deeply proud of the work that I did across 3 mayoral administrations to make our city more affordable and more just. This has been my life's work. And I'm eager to bring that experience, all of the lessons learned, what worked, what didn't, to help the mayor-elect achieve early, tangible wins for New Yorkers. Despite the headwinds we face as a city and as a country, the mayor-elect has truly rekindled something very powerful: our shared faith in New York's capacity to do big things and to dream boldly. Importantly, he and I share an undimmed belief in government's capacity to deliver for working people, an undimmed belief in public servants' capacity to not just meet, not even just exceed, but defy expectations. So thank you, Mayor-elect, for this opportunity. I look forward to helping you build an administration that gets to work joyfully and urgently to lower costs, build homes, expand childcare, and ensure that every New Yorker can build a life of dignity in this city that we all love. Thank you.
Everyone, we'll give you questions, and the co-chairs are available to answer questions as well. We'll start with you, Marcia.
I look forward to being the mayor for every person that calls this city home. That includes the Jewish New Yorkers that voted for our campaign and those that didn't. My responsibility is to all 8.5 million New Yorkers, and we chose this location as a reflection of the borough that I serve and the fact that we are proud to be known as the world's borough. And for far too long, that embrace of so much of what makes New York City special, so much of what makes it the place that we are proud to call it our home, it has been missing in our leaders in this city. And I am excited to be the first immigrant to lead this city in generations. And excited more, frankly, to deliver on an agenda of affordability alongside these incredible co-chairs for New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs.
Right here, sorry, we're going to go to Josie right here.
Yeah. I look at these 4 incredible co-chairs of our transition team, and what I see are those who have had their careers defined by an excellence that we want to characterize the very city hall that we are looking to build. These will be the leaders of our transition, and also this transition will expand and extend beyond any one specific set of issue areas. So the topics of education and public safety continue to be of immense importance. We continue to prepare for the delivery on those very issues alongside the others that concern New Yorkers, and that will be the work of the next 57 days. And just to your second question, I am willing to consider anyone to work in my city hall so long as they are committed to working for my administration and to delivering on an agenda to lower costs for New Yorkers in the most expensive city of the United States.
All right, we'll go to Sam over here.
Mayor-elect Mamdani, Sam Alcock from Democracy Now! I have 2 questions. One,
My message to ICE agents and to everyone across this city is that everyone will be held to the same standard of the law. If you violate the law, you must be held accountable. And there is sadly a sense that is growing across this country that certain people are allowed to violate that law, whether they be the president or whether they be the agents themselves. And what New Yorkers are looking for is an era of consistency, an era of clarity, an era of conviction. And that is what we will deliver to them. And I am looking forward to having conversations with Mayor Adams and his administration about the work of the transition to ensure that the handover is a seamless one and that it is one that benefits the shared work we all have to deliver for the people who call the city home. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody's asking too. I've made my intention clear to retain Commissioner Tisch, and I look forward to having conversations with her on that very subject. Last night, I spent time with my wife, with close members of my team, as we watched the results come in. I spoke briefly with Curtis Sliwa, and then I headed to address the thousands of New Yorkers that were there, waiting to hear of what this new era of government will look like. And that is always my focus. Not on the candidates of this past election, but rather on the people that are so often left behind by our politics, and I look forward to serving them.
Yeah, Morgan, go ahead. Hi, sir. How are you?
Doing well. How are you, Morgan?
Hanging in there. So just two quick questions. Mayor Eric Adams is just announcing that he plans to offer former employees who were terminated for refusing the second COVID vaccine, offering them the opportunity to get their jobs back. Hoping you can react to that. I know that this happened, but also just more broadly, he's also talking about stacking the right guidelines. What do you think about some of these efforts that he's making in his last final days to
The mayor is seemingly unsatisfied with a record of raising rents by more than 12% on more than 2 million New Yorkers, and has gone so far as to consider appointing someone to the Rent Guidelines Board who is known for being a star, I think, on a show called Selling New York. And in many ways, that's the description of what he wants to do over these next few months. I continue to believe in the importance of delivering relief for the 8.5 million people who love this city, who live in this city, but cannot afford to continue to be here. And last night I spoke of Wesley, an 1199 organizer that I met outside of Elmhurst Hospital less than a week ago. And as I asked him how long it took him to get to work, he told me 2 hours. I asked him, where were you coming from? He told me Pennsylvania. That, for many New Yorkers, is now the reality, where they have to live elsewhere because they can't afford to live in the place that they love. And that has to be our compass in guiding the work that we do to ensure that we can make this a city that is livable and make this a city that finally turns the page on an era of big money and small ideas.
Yeah, I'll go Holly right here.
I am looking forward to having every member of my coalition being a part of our transition. The transition will be guided by the work that we need to do, and the coalition that brought me to this point has done an immense amount of work and has also been leading in the fight for dignity for working class New Yorkers. Well, first I just have to say I've spent many days in my youth watching the transfer window close, final hours on Sky News, so it's a pleasure to have you here. Yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan. I have to be honest, when you said you were from Sky News, I just got very excited. Could you repeat the question one more time? I think the lesson for the president is that it's not enough to diagnose the crisis in working class Americans' lives. You have to deliver on addressing that crisis. This is a president who ran a campaign on the promise of cheaper groceries, and now, as was said by one of our co-chairs, has gone so far as to cut SNAP benefits for close to 2 million New Yorkers. Someone who is literally making it harder to afford those same groceries whose price he was decrying not that long ago. And what scares Republicans across the country is the fact that we will actually deliver on this agenda. And the contrast is something that they cannot bear to witness. And I try to keep my focus similar to that cover on the New Yorker where the world ends at New Jersey, and thinking about what this means for our city instead of for our nation. And I will tell you that for our city, what left me with such great hope last night were the stories from so many New Yorkers who had never voted before, who had lost hope in politics years ago. And to stand here before you, having received over 1 million votes in an election that saw turnout the likes of which we haven't seen since 1969, it shows that politics, once again, is offering more than just a settling for the crumbs that are not able to meet the needs of so many families across the city. We are finally offering a vision that can meet the scale of the crisis in working class New Yorkers' lives. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please. I look forward, I'll first answer your first question, then I'll go to your second. I look forward to meeting with Jamie Dimon and meeting with anyone who is concerned about the future of our city and is invested in the vitality of that same city. And these are not very different from the conversations I had over the course of this campaign with many business leaders who, while we may have disagreements on fiscal policy, we also found many areas of agreement as to what the city actually needed. And I think it is critically important that we start to embody a style of leadership that does not demand agreement across every single issue in order to even have a conversation. We need to be able to deliver for New Yorkers, and that means to meet New Yorkers, even those with whom we have any disagreements. So I look forward to having those kinds of meetings, be it with Jamie Dimon or be it with other business leaders, and continuing to show that our affordability agenda is an agenda that would also benefit businesses across the city. Because what I've heard from many of those same business leaders is that the inability for city government and state government to provide universal child care has led to businesses sometimes having to provide stipends to their own employees given the expense of that child care. Makes sense because child care in this city costs an average of $22,500 a year, which is a burden that many families cannot bear. And I also look forward to streamlining the regulations within city government. I'm someone who believes deeply in the public sector, believes deeply in public regulation, and I also believe if I cannot give you an answer as to why a regulation exists, then it likely doesn't have a good reason to exist any longer. And that extends to when a restaurant owner told me of the $25 a year he has to pay the city for the right to sell a frozen dessert. And it also extends to the way in which we fine and fee small businesses across the city, which is why we've committed to cutting that in half. And I have not spoken to Jonathan Greenblatt. I take the issue of anti-Semitism incredibly seriously. And last night in my speech, I spoke about how my city hall will stand steadfast with Jewish New Yorkers in fighting the scourge of anti-Semitism across the city and making that clear in the actions that we deliver on from January 1st. And I look forward to working with Jewish leaders across this city, whether they be elected officials, whether they be rabbis, whether they be community leaders, to deliver on the promise of not just protecting Jewish New Yorkers, but celebrating and cherishing them in this same city. I think that anyone is free to catalog the actions of our administration. I have some doubts in Jonathan's ability to do so honestly, given that he previously said I had not visited any synagogues, only to have to correct himself. Yes,
I
yes.
Yes.
It's a 2-for-1 day.
Oh yeah, a little more interesting. So, on President Trump and on delivering real, tangible results, as you alluded to last night with your new era, as Maria Torres Springer just said, how do you balance, or have you given thought to balancing combating President Trump and not getting lost in that fight where you are not delivering the campaign promises? And second, I'm just curious, kind of in the quiet hours of last night, you got off stage, you went home, maybe you were sitting by yourself, maybe it was just you and your wife. I'm wondering what those sort of thoughts in your head were in those quiet moments after this sort of enormous accomplishment and the weight of what's about to come your way.
It's very funny. Everyone is asking two very different questions. I'm trying to strike the right tone between all of them. New Yorkers are facing twin crises in this moment: an authoritarian administration and an affordability crisis. And it'll be my job to deliver on both. It'll be my job to stand up for the city and also to ensure that we do not look at Washington, D.C. as if it is the reason for all of the problems right here in New York City. Many of the issues we are speaking about, they predate President Trump. They are issues that for too long we have turned a blind eye to, or we have sought to rationalize or normalize. And what I'm so excited by in looking at these incredible women who will be leading our transition is a track record of being able to handle multiple crises at the same time. Crises which so often for others might be the only focus. For so many of the people on this stage, they were one of many. And these are the crises of cost, these are the crises of conviction, these are the crises that have come to describe much of our politics. And I find immense confidence in the fact that we are already building a team that has shown its ability to deliver and that will continue to show that over the next 57 days and beyond. I cannot tell you that I had many quiet moments between last night and this morning, but some things that I have been left with, whether it was in sitting with my wife or with close members of my team without whom none of this would have been possible, is the sense of hope that New Yorkers have. When I left the venue yesterday evening, there were hundreds of New Yorkers waiting outside. And so many of them were young New Yorkers. So many of them, it may have been their first vote they were ever eligible to cast. And in their eyes and in their shouts and in their screams, I heard the potential for what our politics could be. And it's a potential for New Yorkers to not only be able to see themselves in those that lead them, but more importantly, to see their struggles. And just before this, I heard from an immigrant rights advocate who said that the moment that made her whole in the speech that I shared was when I spoke about this city as being one that was built by immigrants, that was powered by immigrants, and now that will be led by an immigrant. I think for too long, many New Yorkers have been told that their only place is in the shadows. And it is incredibly exciting to stand here alongside these leaders to embrace the light that the future will hold for all of us in this city. Yes. Thank you very much. Gracias. The White House hasn't reached out to congratulate me. I continue to be interested in having a conversation with President Trump on the ways in which we could work together to serve New Yorkers, whether that be delivering on his campaign promises around cost of living or the many issues that New Yorkers have been sharing with me about the drastic impacts that the legislation that President Trump has ushered through Washington will mean for them and their lives. And too often we understand these impacts solely at an individual level. But if we just speak a little bit more about SNAP benefits, these are not just affecting the close to 2 million New Yorkers who are on SNAP, these also affect the grocery stores across our city. There were a number of mom and pop owned grocery stores that spoke to me about the fact that in the Bronx, SNAP revenues make up more than a quarter of all of their revenue. And this has the impact of decimating their ability to keep their doors open. And so I look forward to having those conversations and to making clear that if there is ever anything to be spoken about that could benefit the people of the city, I am ready and willing to speak to anyone about it. But if it is a conversation to come at the expense of those people, then I will fight that idea tooth and nail, because my job is to serve this city. When I speak about Trump-proofing this city, I speak about protecting those with the least from the consequences of a man with the most power in this country. It is in part a reference to the need to ensure that any fight for additional revenue is one that also looks to try and protect those same New Yorkers from these kinds of cuts to the greatest extent that we can. And it's also a commitment to ensure that so many of the storied parts of city government return back to the moments where they were on the front lines of fighting for dignity and civil rights, and I think specifically of our city's law department. This is a law department that, when you think of the seminal civil rights cases of this country, they were there. And yet today it has 200 fewer lawyers than it did before COVID. This is an example of a lack of interest from an administration in ensuring that we are investing in the tools that have been proven to protect those same New Yorkers. And I will not mince my words when it comes to President Trump. I will continue to describe his actions as they are, and I will also always do so while leaving a door open to have that conversation, because it cannot be understood as if it is an argument between two individuals. I am looking to lead this entire city, and everything that I do must be to the benefit of this city, and I look forward to delivering for that same city.
Yeah,
Yeah, hi. Hi.
Hey, how's it going on, Keith?
So after your win last night, a lot of critics went to our comment section in the social media newsroom saying, talk to the Mamdani supporters in 6 months, see how they feel. Talk to them in a year, see how bad it's going to get. Do you have any comments on how those folks are reacting and how you're going to do it?
Well, first I'd say we've come a long way since that conversation in Astoria Park, and it's lovely to see you here. You know, I think there were many who said similar things when we launched our campaign on October 23rd. Talk to the campaign in 6 months, talk to the campaign in a year, see where they are. And what we've shown is that the hunger, the dedication, the commitment to excellence and delivering in the ways in which we have been told are impossible, this is what will typify our efforts. It has thus far. This is what will describe them moving forward. And the passion, as Maria had said, of an undimmed potential for government to meet the needs of working people across this city, that is something that we fully intend to deliver on. These were not words that were shared as a means by which to inspire people for the purpose of an election. These were commitments that were made that we intend to deliver on to ensure that New Yorkers can live in the city they call home. I'm sorry, could you come a little closer or speak a little louder? I think the first thing I did was drink some water, and it took a moment for it to settle in. And when it did, oftentimes this job is described with the language of burden, responsibility, pressure. And those things are true. But what is lost is opportunity. And that is really what I felt in that moment when this race was called. The opportunity we have to deliver for people who have come to expect so little from the politics of their city. And that is an opportunity that is at the heart of what motivates me each and every day. And I look forward to fulfilling the trust that was put in me by the more than 1 million New Yorkers who voted for our campaign, and also by New Yorkers who've had concerns or skepticism. I don't begrudge them, because they were subject to tens of millions of dollars in attack ads that told them the thing that should keep them up at night was me, when in fact what I've heard from New Yorkers that the thing that keeps them up at night is the cost of rent, of groceries, of childcare. And so I look forward to earning their trust as well, because my vision of success is not that those who are skeptical leave this city, it's that those who are skeptical stay here in this city, and that we build a city that has room for even more to join us. Because this is a city that has to grow, this is a city that has to thrive, and the way that we will do so is by bringing an excellence back into City Hall, where it becomes the expectation, not the exception. Thank you. Oh, incredible. My first day in City Hall will look like my last day. It will be focused on the cost of living crisis. It will be focused on delivering for the New Yorkers who have been priced out of this city. 1 in 4 New Yorkers currently living in poverty across the 5 boroughs. And what excites me so much about being on the stage alongside these incredible leaders is that this is not a job that can be done alone. This is not a job that can be done by one person with one vision. It is a job that must be done by a team that is united in purpose in fulfilling the agenda that we ran on, an agenda of affordability. And for too long, we have heard from politicians who have told us what they can't do, and in reality what they mean to say is what they won't do. And I'm excited to prove that making people's lives better is not simply an ideal, it is something that we can fulfill in the day-to-day work of our administration. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ethan. I think the governor has set a very good example for what it can look like to both keep a door open to speak with anyone about anything that could serve the interests of the people of this state, while also refusing to sacrifice those same people for the purpose of maintaining a relationship. And that is exactly the approach that I will take, is when President Trump wants to do something that will benefit this city, I will be there to say as much. But if he is looking to persecute or prosecute or punish the people of this city by virtue of who they are or where they live or where they came from, then I will fight him on that. I think too often we have had a style of leadership that seeks to put oneself before the people that you're looking to serve, and my City Hall will do the opposite. Oh, thank you. You know, this is a group that exemplifies the excellence I've long spoken about. It is an excellence that New Yorkers have seen across multiple mayoral administrations. It is an excellence that they have seen at the federal level. And it's an excellence that has been displayed amidst a conviction of what government can and should and must do for New Yorkers. And I'm excited by the prospect of them leading this transition to deliver for those same New Yorkers. And I also am clear with the more than 100,000 volunteers who brought me to this point, with the more than 1 million New Yorkers who voted for our campaign, that the work does not end with an election. In fact, it continues until we deliver this agenda. And that delivery will be something that we do over weeks and months and years. And it will be something that we will take immensely seriously, because it is a delivery that will fulfill the hope that so many have put in us. Could we do the first one? I'll answer, then we go to the second one? Perfect. Yes. Well, thank you for the question. It's transition2025.com. And, you know, there were a few months ago where I told supporters across the city to stop donating. And today I am asking them to start once again. And I am asking them to do so because of the fact that a transition that can meet the moment of preparing for January 1st is one that will require staff, it will require research, it will require infrastructure. And those are things that we will have to provide. And I'm excited for the fact that it will be funded by the very people who brought us to this point, the working people who have been left behind by the politics of this city. I did get a text from my super late this night. Look, I have been told time and time again, and I've embraced it, to not measure the drapes. And here I am the day after being asked to use a ruler. And I will tell you that my focus right now is on the transition team. I will speak with my wife. I will think about this further, but when I have something to share, it will be done so publicly. Andrew Cuomo did it. The mayor has not invited me as yet to go to City Hall, but I look forward to having those conversations about the transition. I don't see it as a question of which borough is on top. I am looking to serve every single one of the 5 boroughs. And in each of these boroughs, I find so much of the inspiration of the work that we have to do in City Hall. And I'm also proud to represent Queens in the state legislature. I'm proud to be a resident and an assembly member for Astoria and for Long Island City. And I'm proud that we are standing here today in the world's borough to embrace what gives so much meaning as to what it means to be a New Yorker here in this moment today. This guy's trying to get me to go against other boroughs. Unbelievable. Where's the suit? Good to see you. Well, I appreciated Bill Ackman's tweet and the sentiment of it, and I will continue to have conversations with anyone who is committed to the welfare of this city, the vitality of this city, and those are the conversations I will have over the next 57 days and beyond. I can tell you what it means in this city. It means that the idea of a politics built around the delivery of dignity to each and every person who calls this city home, that politics is alive and well. And for too long, we have spent our time debating who deserves that dignity, as opposed to delivering it to each and every person who calls this city home. I didn't hear the second question. Even amidst my many critiques that I have of the Adams administration, we have to have a sober analysis of the work that is done in any single administration. And I think that City of Yes is something that is a significant and good step forward. I think that trash containerization is another example of something that we should continue to pursue. And these are examples to me of some of the issues which have been long recognized by New Yorkers as ones that need to be contended with by government and ones that have simply been ignored. And I look forward to continuing on those issues and then correcting the course in many and other areas of city government. And I look forward to working with the council and with the next speaker on delivering on an agenda of affordability for each and every person that calls the city home.